the internet, a system of tubes, over one particular tube known as YouTube, bringing you my version of the boob tube and my little program I like to call Spleen Squeezins. Even as the computer crashes underneath me and I have to reboot the stupid audio. Once again, I repeat, this is... Damn it! One, two, three, four. Screw it. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. Hip deep boom shakalaka. Don't know if you can hear the music. Don't know if I can hear the music. I just don't know. Oi. Hello. Is anybody there? Isn't there anybody out there? Are we alone in the universe? Or are they just not talking to us? Hello. I'm tired. I'm very tired. I'm sorry I didn't broadcast Monday or Tuesday. I just didn't. I was just not doing well. I feel wrung out. I always feel wrung out though, but just right now, stay on for a while, do some work. I've been trying to do some rewriting and editing on the Sanguine Chronicles. That's really a terrible name, you know? It really is. It sounded cool at first. But after a while, it just sort of sucked. Got tiresome, got old. fell asleep at my computer last night and hell. Well, no, actually, went to bed. You know, decent night's sleep, and I get in here and I sit down in front of my computer and I keep falling asleep. There are days I wonder, is this it, God? Is this how I'm going to die? Just, not, and I'm just, just going to fall apart at the age of 40, 45, I never managed to get my life together, and what little I had is falling apart, and it's... it's sort of getting to me, to say the least. It's not the right size. It's just... just had a momentary day of feeling satisfaction. Yesterday I finally finished a page of the probability bomb and got it posted, and finished a commission and got that sent out, and posted a couple of drawings to the art gallery on the site, and that was it for my productivity. And so yay. Let's see here. Oh, well, Trump is saying right now, the word is coming out of the Trump administration. One of his underlings came out and said that Trump is probably not going to prosecute, Hillary. Probably not. And I'm like, should not be surprised at a politician breaking his promise. Of course, this is, weasel words and political waffling, and it wasn't Trump that said it, so, still don't know. There are some people saying that one of Trump's tenets is never let your enemy know what you're about to do next. So, I don't know. But even if he doesn't do anything about Hillary, I don't know why I'm surprised. The idea of a politician breaking a promise. Welcome back to Reality 101. I came to the conclusion, even when Trump was running it, even if he only fulfills, if he fulfills, just one of his campaign promise, just one, it's still probably been basically worthwhile to have elected him. Because I would rather have Trump fulfill none of his campaign promises than to have Hillary in there fulfilling any other campaign promises. Do you get what I'm saying? One of the best things that could ever happen to us is a do-nothing government, Because when they get together and start doing things, it's usually bad for us. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where oh, yes, let's see here. Commissions. Let's see. Commissions. I got a couple of commissions in here that weren't finished. And I can't even remember what these commissions were. Remember, like a... I think, though, that if he decides not to prosecute Hillary, it's going to be a big mistake for that alone will probably be enough to, send a bunch of voters packing next time. No, nobody's going to want to have any, nobody's going to want to listen to anything he says if he these aren't hard promises to keep. He's the executive. His job is to enforce the law. Hillary broke the law. His job is to enforce the law. Beginning, end of story. I made the mistake of signing up for one of these stupid, for a couple of these stupid fill-out survey money things, and now they're flooding my inbox with spam. I figured out quickly that you can't actually finish any of their damn surveys because the last step is to pick one of these. Fabulous deals, and their idea of a payoff is giving you a coupon. You can never tell whether you've finished the dang thing or not because there's always something, another survey and another survey and another survey and another survey. So basically, it's just all a lie. Obviously, duh. That's why I went. I'll tell you why I went, because I'm desperate for money. I have at the moment. I have Well, how I've got nothing in the bank right now, and I've got bills that like words like lights out, no heat, no light, no internet. And same story every month. Every month, go through this, and it's getting worse every month. And I can't produce enough of what people want to pay my way anymore. It's pathetic. I have no damned idea what I'm doing here. Okay, let's see here. Corporal bow and combat armor. Okay. My eyes are all cruddy. I can't see right. My eyes are all gunky. I'm trying to clean them, and it's bad when your vision is blurry. You clean your glasses, and it's bad when you think your glasses are smudged. You take them off, you clean them, and you realize it's not your glasses, it's your eyes. It's mucus and gunk. Eyeball gunk. Bleh. I can't. Ugh. Maybe I should get some eye drops or something. It's getting harder to read. I need new glasses too. I've got to, mom. It's not good. It's just not good anymore. I could spend the entire broadcast listing off all the things around here that are broken, that are fixed, and I desperately need money to fix, and I should. But the point is, I haven't got anything really to offer anyone. The secret to living is to have something to offer to people that they can't get elsewhere. Goods, services, products. I don't have that. Now, there are certain things I could make money, but would be morally reprehensible. And so, no. And so, I don't know, I'm really not sure where I'm going to end up at this point. Okay, I think instead I'm going, as I keep doing this to myself. Every time I get in a financial crisis, I start putting more irons in the fire, trying to make some extra money. Right. The problem is, eventually, I have too many irons in the fire, and I don't get anything done. And I do this over and over again. You recall, you go to my homepage, you can see all the comic strips listed down the side that I started years ago, and several of them I ran for several years. And I tried to decomplexify my life by eliminating all of them. And foolishly, I apparently picked the only two that weren't generating any real income, because the two the two color comics, Tales of the Questor and Space Ranger. I thought of those as my best works, but once I started doing nothing but them, everything sort of, and commissions died, and donations died. Everything just went out, and that's a scientific term for it. It went. Is this stupid thing working? Yes, it's working good. I was worried for a minute that I had the button clicked off. And so, yeah, you can sort of get the picture. I never know if I've got these settings right. Okay, let me see here. Let me go to kablam.com and see if we can. I'm still annoyed about this. Kablam.com. Okay, we live in a day and age where we can transmit information and data. They can send. This pisses me about banks. This really does. Banking organizations and savings and loans and all that other crap. Everybody else can instantly transfer money anywhere. A bank still takes up to 5 days to confirm a deposit. And you try and corner a banking executive on that. You lying sack of crap weasels. What they're doing is they're trying to they're trying to play games. Okay, yeah, let's see. I'm looking for the dang. I'm trying to pull up some information here. Come on. Okay. My goal was always to get into making print comics. That's why I now have Kablam.com. Every decision I've made is bad decisions. Because up until now, my DVD and CD sales were the thing that kept the wheels greased. Every year I produce a new archival DVD, and I would sell those things, and they sold like hotcakes. But now, I tried to shift over to selling comics, print comics through print-on-demand services, currently with Kablam.com. And nobody wants them. Very few people, proportionally, I was selling thousands of CDs and DVDs over the years. But these comic books, let's see here. I have made, since starting my account. Do you understand? Since starting my account, and this has been over the past 5 or 6 years, I made less than 2,000 sales total of all my books. Earnings 1820. It says here since starting publications, I made $1,829.54, and that stretched out over several years. So moving to print has been a disaster for me, and what's worse is that it doesn't seem like I can move back. I've got my annual archival DVDs for sale. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them anymore. Because apparently people are moving on from DVDs, and there's no hard copy anything that I can sell. And digital downloads, those are even worse. Nobody wants the digital downloads. Maybe once in a blue moon, somebody will buy that. And it was the same story when I tried to sell coffee mugs, T-shirts. You go to cafepress.com. They got every possible, imaginable type of promotional product you can sell. Make your logo, put your art on it. They even have posters. And nobody wanted. I would maybe sell a T-shirt once every 3 or 4 months. And even then, the profit margin is horrible. The profit margin is horrible on comic books and on merchandise. It's awful. I sell a $15 product. I'll make maybe $1 or $2 if I tweak the price. Okay, the only thing that has been consistent for me has been of I'm more Patreon patrons. A few, just one or two. I make, let's see here, Patreon. I make about 300 people donate. They pledge. The total pledges. I've got under 100 donors, but it comes to $300, which that's about a third of what would be put me completely in the black. But I'm always grateful. So okay. Let's take a day and just get some comic strips up here. But first, I got to get those darn measurements. Let's see here. Let's see. Tech specs. I make a point of drawing the comics to tech specs so that I can, even if I do decide to print, they'll fit. Bleh. Acid reflux, yummy. Let's see, self-cover, kablam. I can't even. I swear, this is me. This is sad. Page layout. I saved a copy of this information and promptly lost it. There's a file in here somewhere. Seven by 10.5. Okay, I know that much. Now wait a minute. I've been going 7.5 by 10. Now what the hell? These people are killing me. Now they're telling me the pages are supposed to be 7 by 10.5. What the hell? I've been doing it wrong. Great, lovely, perfect. I hate my life. Great. Just fraggin' great. 6.75, 10.25. Ah! Great, all the pages are the wrong damn size. Just kill me now. Stop changing! The proper ratio is 2 to 3. Yep. Hell. I've been drawing all the pictures. I'm just. Oh dear God! It's just. This entire time I've been drawing the wrong sizes. All the comic pages are the wrong size. This is me not having a good moment. New website. Let's finish that next Questor page. I'm too old for my age. Let me switch this so you can see what I'm doing. Nothing on that page. It's just, ugh. Darn it, and I forgot to put the wrong layer. I'm just batting 1,000 today, I swear. I'm at a loss for anything to talk about. Anything that isn't me retreading old ground. I'm not going anywhere for Thanksgiving myself. I'm just not up to traveling. I'm not up to traveling 50 mile. I'm not up to 20, 30 mile. I'm not even up to a 10 mile. I'm not up to a 5 mile trip. And I've and I'm definitely not up to having guests. I have two chairs in my house. I'm sitting in one of them. The other one's covered with junk. Just my place is a mess, and I have nothing to wear but a little more in rags right now. I have to I wear t-shirts and cut off sweats. So it's the only thing I can find that I can fit in. Finally found a couple of places online that sell stuff in my sizes. The thing of it is that I'm not one uniform size. Basically, is the problem. Uh, because of the swelling in my legs, finding a pair of pants or even a pair of pajama pants or sweatpants. I would have to get something like a size 6, size 7, size 6X, 7X, just to find pants legs that would go up to my knees. So I make do. I'm not good company right now. I'll say that. Ladies and gents, I'll just say this right now. I'm not good company right now. I'm terrible company. Cross concept thoughts that crossed my mind earlier today. I've been reading up, just browsing TV tropes, and came across a page where they were talking about. Well, I forget what the name of the meme in question was, or the trope in question was, but oh, come on, you stupid. It was about trash TV, basically. These rather horrible reality shows, and just how brutal and cruel they are. I mean, you take Survivor, or even America's Got Talent, or American Idol, or the like. And the way it is and all these other shows, it's just really dehumanizing. Some of them are just sadistically cruel. And then you have Point and Land TV, Springer. You'd ask yourself, why would anybody willingly go on Jerry Springer and have their dirty laundry here? Because in our culture, in our industry, we are in an information age. Where right now the way to get rich isn't to make a product. It's information. It's entertainment media. The person who owns the camera eye is the one, rich and famous. That's the most straightforward path in our current cultural cycle. And you know, is just getting in front of the camera for good or for ill. People will do anything to be to have their existence acknowledged by the media. Even now, even if you're a company that makes mechanical widgets, whether you live or die depends on, as a business, depends on whether or not people hear your product name. So we live in an age where fame is the same thing as notoriety. Fame doesn't matter. You cannot be anonymous and prosper in this economy. Somebody has to know of you, somebody has to know of your product or of your work. But anyway, about these shows where people are put through cruel depravities or forced to backstab each other for public entertainment, or they're talked into going on TV and airing their dirty laundry so that the world can point and laugh. Here Comes Honey Boo Boo comes to mind, or Survivor. People have admitted that these people would not survive in a real survival situation. It would be disaster. But the strategy for the show, the overarching strategy for every season of the show, is to get rid of the competent people first. In the end, it's every man for himself. It's ghastly, and these executives that make these shows, that air these shows, they've been condemned for coarsening our culture. It is far worse than merely coarsening our culture. They're dehumanizing it. They're making every time you watch one of these shows, you sit down and watch one for your own amusement, you come away a little bit colder, a little bit more hateful of other human beings, a little more contemptuous of other people's suffering. Degrade, dehumanize, and corrupt. It's the same effect that the gladiators, the gladiators and the Colosseum had on the Romans. They went out there and watched people kill one another for their amusement. And it was, and you can't, they're not killing each other on these shows. They're just brutalizing each one another in other ways, humiliating them, shaming them, forcing them into situations where they're given a choice between failure and degrading themselves. Fear factor, where people are, they have people wade filth and eat bugs and worse, just at a chance at a prize. And the winner is the one who is willing to degrade and humiliate themselves the worst. The participants are dehumanized. The audience is dehumanized. The people that make it are dehumanized. And their defense is, we're only giving the audience what it wants. You know what the problem is with saying we are only giving the audience what it wants? Suppose you were a drug dealer. And you're out there handing out, heroin and crack cocaine and crystal meth. Is it any moral defense to say, oh, well, I'm just giving them what they want? Especially when you created many of your customers? Little thing they're leaving out is that, the first serving is always free. And they're broadcasting this. Think about this. They're broadcasting this stuff. People aren't paying for it. It's going out over the airwaves for free. It's when you want more than just the first taste is when you start paying for pay-per-view and Netflix and back episodes and DVD collections of the show's episodes and tickets to sit in the audience when they're just trying to decide whether or not some trailer park loser is a baby's daddy or not, so you can point and laugh. You are accountable for the moral content of the product you sell. Especially when your goal initially is to create new customers. First taste is always free. There's that thought that has. I'll say this much. I've mentioned this before. Is that as an artist, do you can't imagine. You can't imagine the temptation sometimes. There are things that I could do to make them quick and easy with my talents. Even as baseline as they are, I will be the first to say that I am not a great artist. I'm a functionally decent one. All right. But you do not have to be a great artist to make a great deal of money in, shall we say, certain. You just have to be willing to cross the line and start doing it. And I know that I could, and that what's that I know that if I started doing it, I would never stop because eventually I would sear my conscience with an iron. I wouldn't, you know, no pain, no guilt, or so little guilt that it wouldn't matter. And And I know that if I did, I would lose the respect of all of you. I would lose my own self-respect first, but I would also lose whatever respect other people had for me. I would lose it. I would estrange. I would probably estrange my family completely. I would. You know, I would. My bills would be paid. Oh Lord, yes. And don't pretend for a minute. Don't pretend for a minute. These people here that get in. I'm only in it for the money. Yeah, but I guarantee you that it's after all, it's an enjoyable process. Sin isn't sin. Sin wouldn't be quite so effective a sale if it wasn't fun. You know what I'm saying? Evil would not prosper if it wasn't pleasant. So, those thoughts help keep me from making that final wicked step. But I've added a new one recently. I realized that there's no hiding from the fact that if I did this, I would be corrupting myself, but I would also be profiting off of corrupting other people. And sometimes the only thing that holds you back is having one extra voice that says, just hold back for one more day. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding enough reasons to not do something. That's not virtue. Virtue, to my way of feeling things, virtue is about wanting to make things better. I think that's why, deep down, that's how I view virtue. Virtue is a desire to make things better. this is just about, just not wanting to make things worse. Man, my eyes are so gunky. That's what happens when you don't get enough proper sleep again. It's just eye boogers. Yeah. Eye boogers of doom. Bleh. You may have noticed that the Black Knight armor bears more than a passing resemblance to the space armor that Quentin Quinn wears in Space Ranger. That's basically because I'm a lazy artist and don't want to draw two different styles of armor. The guy that writes Schlock Mercenary openly admits that the reason that he stopped, he did a entire, well, I guess you call it what, a season or of his comic strip with the characters using this, heavy, battle mech style armor, and he got so sick of drawing it that he came up with a whole low profile armor idea and basically just started drawing them in their old uniforms again. Just to, major ass pull to cover the reason that they weren't wearing the battle armor anymore. This is also probably why Iron Man has gone through so many armor changes over the years. Not because writers have come up with clever new ideas, it's just that every artist comes along and he can't remember all the shiny bits and pieces that go in the armor. And they got tired of flipping back through back issues to see what the armor was supposed to look like. Why is the armor different? Oh, this is his Mark II armor. This is a whole new, it's a whole new model of armor. It just goes underwater. It shoots Nerf balls, and they come up with some half-arsed explanation. Imagine what it was like drawing Spider-Man's costume. All that webbing. Colorist is talking to the inker. Come on, we're 3 months overdue. I have only 500 more little lines to go. That's why you ever look at the old Spider-Man animated cartoons. If you look, you'll notice that he only had webbing on his mask, and I think maybe on his hands. The rest was just flat color. And I'm like, I love how superheroes are always supposed to have designed their own costumes. Like, oh crap, you're talking about guys that can't even cook their own meals, and you're supposed to, and they're suddenly, and they're suddenly supposed to become seamstresses. I remember seeing one of these off-brand comics. It was supposed to be basically a deconstruction of Batman, I suppose. This dark vigilante gets saddled. He owes some guy a favor, and the guy saddles him. Turn my son into your sidekick, and so he's stuck with him, and he goes to they go to talk to the guy. Has a costumer, a guy who designed his armor and stuff and costume and stuff for his dark vigilante thing, and they go and speak to him, and your sidekick's costume is ready, and the kid comes out, and it's this kind of dorky looking outfit anyway, and the vigilante says, "What happened to this isn't what I gave you. This isn't anything like the picture I gave you." And the guy looks at him and says, "Did you ever see that episode of The Simpsons where Homer tries to design a car? What you gave me was unworkable." And yet you see all the comics. Every superhero has his own look and theme, and he's supposed to have made the costume himself and patched it himself and designed it himself. And I'm like, when exactly did Spider-Man get the time, to make that costume? And that's one the original Spider-Man movies, the Tobey Maguire movies. I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire, one and only Spider-Man. I don't care what you say. This new Spider-Man for the new Spider-Man movies, the two new Spider-Man movies, total crap. Okay. But anyway, they have him showing up in that crappy costume for the wrestling match. And then they after the tragic events of Uncle Ben's death, they transition over, and suddenly he's wearing a whole new costume, the impossibly complex costume which no high college student, especially a young bachelor boy, would ever have made. And, where'd it go? And my dad's saying there, where the heck did the costume come from? And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just... I remember when the Superman show Lois and Clark came out, they had this one montage where Mrs. Kent was trying to help Clark design a costume. It was hysterical. They're trying, they're trying all sorts of things, weightlifter costume and leopard print and and masks and crap. That was funny, but no. And frankly, it also the Tobey Maguire movies, it made so much more sense. Because, okay, I get that Peter Parker is supposed to be super smart. But having him design not only, the webbing, which does exactly what he wants it to, and the web shooters, and doing it all with junk, that he's accumulated, building these things in his Aunt May's garage. And I'm like, no, it just didn't really work. And plus, when I was a kid, I always thought web shooters were a cop-out. If a superhero had superpower, it was supposed to be the superhero that superpower. And I thought gadgets were cheating. And I'm like, I was so disappointed when I found out that Spider-Man was supposed to use web shooters. Mechanical web shooters. Like, what a jip. And, and I felt the same way when I first heard of Iron Man. The first time I learned about the superhero Iron Man was a Hostess Twinkies ad in the comic book. I'm like, this guy isn't a superhero, he's a guy with a suit. My definition of a superhero has expanded and matured somewhat over the years, but still, I kind of feel like, no. A superhero is supposed to have superpowers. And I don't care. Being rich is not a superpower. I was a lot more impressed when I grew up and I realized, he made the armor himself. But still, Have you ever noticed that the major heroes that rely entirely on gadgets, the ones that are supposed to be baseline humans, yet use you know super powered suits or belts full of gadgets and martial arts training? You ever notice, in Marvel Comics, you've got Iron Man. In DC Comics, you've got Batman. They're basically counterparts of each other. They're both, except that Tony Stark actually enjoys being a rich playboy, and Bruce Wayne really needs to pull the stick out. But they're both, you ever notice that those kinds of heroes are always jerks? For the past several years, Batman has been a real jerk to everyone, including his own sidekicks. Superheroes come out here, let us help you out, and let us help you take down the Joker. And he's like, "Get out of my city. It's my city. Stay out. No superheroes other than me allowed." And I'm like, way to put the people ahead of your ego, jackass. And he was responsible. He was the one that was so paranoid. He had an entire database on how to destroy every superhero in the Justice League, which nearly got all the heroes in the Justice League destroyed by a villain who got hold of it. And over in over in Marvel Comics, you had Tony Stark, who, among other things, was a womanizer and a drunk. Seriously, he had to join AA. No self-control, but he's a control freak, just like Batman. And he's the one that started the whole superhero registration crap, the superhuman registration crap, and started the entire, crap storm known as the Civil War, the Marvel Civil War, where by editorial fiat, the good guys lost. I mean, they need to have an entire. And the way that Tony Stark evaded responsibility for that, he erased his own memory. Literally, that's supposed to be, how his penance. He realizes, I've been an asshole. Gee, maybe locking people up for being superheroes without a trial and throwing them in prison is kind of a bad guy thing to do. And so he erases his own memory to basically. Erases his memory all the way back to before Civil War started. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm still of the opinion they need an entire year of comic episodes of Iron Man, comics of Iron Man, where where his victims, the imprisoned. All the heroes that were imprisoned and who were had their powers stripped or were even maimed, crippled, or the families of the ones that were killed because of him, just show up and stomp his ass into the ground for a full comic. Because seriously, his Superhero Registration Act, there have been people who pointed out, everybody from lawyers to Joe on the street pointed out there's in real life that would be a horrible violation of the Constitution, because it would have been basically a bill of attainder. It would have made it. Basically made it a crime to be a superhuman and be alive. It made it a crime to live if you were a superhuman, and it was just basic horrible. leftist thinking. For those who don't know, is first of all, addressing the fact that they were rounding up superheroes. And several people pointed out that the law itself said that if you were going to be an active superhero, you had to register. You didn't have to register, but any superheroes who didn't register, even the ones that retired on the spot, they were going out and basically kidnapping them, throwing them in an interdimensional prison without legal representation, without a trial, for life. So your choices were either to be locked up in a space prison or be a slave. Gee, I can't see what's wrong with that. And that's the tragic thing, is that the people that wrote this, they were of the opinion that the pro-registration side were the good guys. And they could not understand why the fans just threw a fit. Could not understand what was wrong with throwing people in prison without a trial who had never actually committed a crime. They could not understand why there was a bill of attainder. Basically, a bill of attainder makes it it makes it a crime to be a certain type of person, like writing a law where it makes it against law. If you have blue eyes, you have to pay a fine to the government and register for a blue-eyed person license. That's basically what it is. They used to do that sort of thing to people of certain minorities, Jewish people particularly. And this is why they put it in the Constitution, that it was the law to make such a bill. People don't know enough. People don't know enough of the Constitution to walk around, I regularly shock people by saying that yes, you should have the right to say no colored people served here. What? It's called freedom of association. Let me spell it out simply for you. You do not have the right to make another person serve you. You do not have the right to make any other person serve you against their will. And it doesn't matter why they don't want to serve you. They could decide they don't want to serve you because they don't like your ugly face. That's their right. Just the same as it'd be their right to say we only want to serve ugly people like you. But in the rush to sanctimony during the civil rights movement, they overran that. They forgot that they forgot that civil rights applied to people that you don't like too. And now we live in a nation where they can destroy you. They can use the law, they can use the press, they can use the government to destroy you if you refuse to bake a wedding cake for them because you are morally opposed to it. The whole problem with how far the civil rights movement went can be summed up in this sentence: make me a sandwich nigger. You would be horrified if a bunch of Klansmen marched into a restaurant owned by a black person and started, screaming and demanding that the black man, come out there and serve them. This is basically what we did to everybody when the civil rights movement crossed the line. The civil rights movement did this right. It abolished the Jim Crow laws. The Jim Crow laws were unjust, and they abolished them. They desegregated the schools. Everybody should have equal access to public services of the government, whether or not you agree the government should have the service in question or not. The government runs public libraries. Everybody should have access to them. The government runs public schools. Everybody should have access to them. That's what the word public means. But when you went from demanding the government treat everyone equally to demanding that the government force other people to serve you against their will, you violated your own principles. And you're just as wrong and just as much in violation of human rights. And more the fool you've laid the groundwork for somebody else to come back later and use the same stunt on you. But people don't see it that way. All they can hear is, you don't want to just to black people. I don't care what color they are. I'm not talking about myself. First of all. And second of all, it's not up to you to decide whether someone else's reason for doing something. If it is a right, if it is a human right, it is not your decision as to whether their exercising of that right is for a good reason or not. If I have a right to freedom of speech, it is not up to you to decide whether my agenda in writing a book or giving a speech is acceptable or not. You can disagree with me all you want, but if you stop me from exercising that right, you are in the wrong. But this country, we have not had a free country in decades. We have not had the right to freedom of association. We have not had any of the right, the right to bear arms. We have to play Mother May I in a dozen different ways just to carry a firearm on our person in a nation where our founders declared we should have a firearm. These are people who didn't give the vote to most free people, yet they said we should all have guns. Do you understand what I'm saying? They didn't give the vote to women, but they said women should have the right to carry a gun. That's how important they thought the right to bear arms was. Most citizens weren't allowed to vote either. You were only allowed to vote if you were a landowner, but you still had the right to carry a gun. Coincidentally, they weren't limited to muskets back in that day. At that time, there were people that had already invented and designed and were producing firearms of a much more modern stripe. Ones that they were already rifle, right of modern type rifles. They had brass cartridge bullets. They had you know multiple shots in one of the. They had revolvers. They had all that. It's just that they were very, very expensive to make. It was much easier to round up a few thousand muskets than it was to get a dozen of these high-end multi-cartridge rifles. I would have to go scrounging to find the full details of the type of gun it was. And it was over in Europe. They hadn't made it across the Atlantic yet for another reason. So it wasn't about limiting people to just muskets, as some of these illiterate dum-dums try to claim. Not the puckle gun. It was a gun that had cartridge bullets. It had a rifled barrel, and it held up to 5 rounds in a clip. It had a clip. It was in pretty much every regard a fairly modern gun. It's just that they manufactured it. They had it, but it was a very expensive item at the time. So they were better off. They were better off with a few thousand or a few. They were better off with a few hundred muskets for the same price. Well, I don't know how much the thing was. I'm just saying, general concept there. You get the idea across. mentioned this. I think I mentioned this yesterday. There is some jackass out there. He's supposed to be a stage comedian. Nobody's ever heard of him, but he. He wrote a entry commenting on the you've seen a lot of these memes. People are just basically pointing out how, okay, liberals, and they're showing pictures of the riots and the tantrum throwing and all the other nonsense that, and all the idiots screaming racist and all this other bull crap. And they go, liberals, this is why you lost. This is why you lost. Well, this guy responds. He basically compared the people that said this to wife beaters. I'm not exaggerating either. He basically said, "Well, I've noticed that people that do this, they say, every time we raise a complaint, this is why you lost." And all I'm hearing is a man who hits his wife and then says, and it says, "Why'd you make me do that?" And I'm like, you little bitch. We haven't touched you. We haven't laid a hand on you. And we never would. Because we're better people than you. We're not the ones out there rioting in the streets and setting things on fire because we don't like how an election turned out. We're not the ones attacking people and beating them bloody and hospitalizing them because they were wearing a Trump Make America Great hat. We're not the ones smashing cars or blocking traffic or throwing chairs through the front window of the nearby Starbucks. That's you. We have never laid a hand on you. On any of you. I just want to, but we want to. You have no idea how badly we want to. We can't help but look at your snotty little faces and listen to your snotty little voices and just wish to God that we could run over there and give you the beatings, the collective beating that your mommy and your daddy never did. I remember seeing this one where it was a video clip. This one anti-Trump protester, screaming bitch. She hiked, she stripped to the waist. She dropped her pants in the street. Dropped a Trump poster on the floor, on the ground, and crapped on it. Then she took her hands, smeared it around on the picture, and held it up for everybody to see. I nearly went blind. I swear I did. Because all I could think was, oh God, what I wouldn't give to be on that street at that very moment with an old-fashioned schoolyard paddle in my hand. One of the nice big long 2x4 planks with the holes drilled through it. Remember those? I would give anything to be there at that very moment she started squatting. I would have taken a running start and swung for the bleachers. I wanted so desperately just to haul off and just blast her in the ass with one of those paddles so hard that the fat ripples rolled up her body, merged on her forehead, and launched her across the street in a somersault. That's not going to happen. You know why? And this is all stuff I included in that in my response. You know what? Because we can wait. You got maybe 6 to 8 more weeks. Not even that much. And your party's going to be over. Your little street shindig is going to end because the president-elect will become the president. And he will start enforcing law, which means your ass is going to jail. You see, that's what law-abiding citizens do. They let law enforcement enforce the law. Imagine that. And in the meanwhile, every last one of us can stand in our own threshold, in our own doorway, shotgun in hand, and wait. So you just go ahead. You just take that one step too far. Try and cross the threshold of our front door. Try and bring your violence and your lawlessness to our households, and we will show you just how poorly your transgender, bisexual, intercultural, feminist studies, how poorly that has prepared you for life in the real world. Because we got plenty of practice putting boot to ass, and putting shotgun shells full of rock salt into a few backsides too. We sure as heck, and the least of us, as sure as heck, has dealt with tougher things than you. Spoiler. We say you want a revolution. Oh, you want a revolution? What you going to fight? You're anti-gun. What you going to fight it with? Dildos and bongs? Yeah, this is the liberal at his peak of intelligence. He's going to wage a civil war, barehanded, against the side that has all the guns. Have you seen pictures of some of these liberals? I'm sorry, I'm not too dang worried if it comes down to that. On one side, you got every deer hunting redneck on the planet. On the other side, you got men who walk in high heels to show how sensitive their female side is. Oh yeah, I'm concerned. That 80-year-old curmudgeon like grandpa down the road that you turn your nose up at, he has stomped a mud hole in more people than you even know. He's a Vietnam vet. He's probably a Vietnam vet. He's probably a Korean vet, World War II vet. I'll put my money on 80-year-old men in the nursing home over the likes of you. Just ugh. And I ain't exaggerating. I've known men twice my age who could plant a boot so far up somebody's hippie dipstick's rear ends that they'd be farting shoe leather for a month. I swear, it just flips you off. They're the one. They're out there. They're out there, just smashing crap and making innocent people bleed. And then they turn around and snivel. Oh, you're so mean. You're picking on me. I make a point of telling me, just do you realize? Do you realize just how worth opinion about anything is? I can't believe Trump picked this guy for his cabinet. He's a bigot. He's a bigot. He's a sexist. He's a racist. He's a homophobe. He's a this. He's a that. Now look at for the past 50 years, they've been playing the bigot card. They have maxed out the bigot card. The bigot card, this, with the scissors, snip, snip. You ain't got no more bigot card to play with. You have overdrawn on the bank of bigot. Well, I think he's a bigot, and the rest of the world's going, so we don't care what you think. Because, quite frankly, you don't think. You feel. Precious boo-boo. It's just flies right up my nose. These people are out here. They trample all over the law. They commit crime. And the only reason they get away with it is because they got corrupt people of their own party in power. Mark Weiner. Man, what a name. Can you imagine growing up with a name like that? Weiner. No wonder he turned into a pervert when he grew up. Weiner. Weiner, Weiner, Weiner. Well, that's my train of thought. Wiener, wiener, wiener. There you go. Okay. Man, that's just terrible. It's time to, your parents come to you. What's our last name, Daddy? Wiener. I'm changing my name, Daddy. I'm changing my name. Well, good on you, son. But anyway, the man sent naked photographs of himself to a 15-year-old girl. Why is he not in jail? If it had been if it had happened by accident, if any of us had done that by accident, not realizing that our cell phone was on, or realizing that our webcam was on. Oh crap! Did I just send an email? Boom! We would be in pound you in the butt prison. We could blink. I'm sorry. This election cycle has brought out the fact that the ruling class in this country do not have to obey the laws that we do at all. Hillary has committed enough federal crimes. She should be in federal prison a dozen times over for any one of the things that she's done. finance fraud, election fraud, voter fraud, campaign fine. She's just and violating national security with her email. Prison. No, if you or I had done that, we would have disappeared. Nobody would know what the hell happened. We'd wake up the next day in Guantanamo. Or in some ugly little cell in some prison in Alaska. 4 steel walls and 2 ugly guards holding machine guns standing outside. We would have no chance. That would be it. If Trump has a brain in his head, he's saying, his staff are saying right now he's decided he's really not going to push matters with Hillary. If he has a brain in his head, the instant he's finished swearing in as president, he's going to turn around and tell the policeman standing there, cuff her. You can't tell me the people aren't pissed that this wretched woman has gotten away with all the crimes she has in full view of the American people. We are our nation is balancing on the edge of a dime. We could go one way or the other, heads or tails. And right now, the American people, the real American people, the God-fearing, America-loving, patriotic people of the United States are on their best behavior, quite frankly. While the liberals are out tearing the shit out of the cities. Any other country, our people would be out there in the street stomping a hole in them. And to hell with the law. We're waiting. We have been promised by this man that he is going to enforce the laws of this nation, that he is going to enforce the Constitution, that he is going to enforce the laws, that he is going that he is going to purge the sewer. He is going to flush out the sewer that is Washington, D.C. And if he doesn't start by putting that felonious bitch behind bars, I seriously suspect that the American people are just going to lose their shit over it. Pardon my language, but man, I'm cranked. I'm honked off. The only reason I'm angrier over the announcement made that he isn't really going to press the matter with Hillary, the crime she's committed, is that it is commonly stated. He one of the things about Trump is that he never lets the opposition know what he's going to do until he's already started doing it. He's not sworn in yet. He's got a month and a half to go. He's got, 8 weeks or so. So, just under 2 months. So he's sitting on that. And considering what resources this vile woman has, power, influence, money, catching her off guard might be a smart idea. So we're going to wait and see. But if he doesn't, he might as well kiss, after the first 4 he can just kiss the next election goodbye. He is going to have to make a promise, and he is going to have to keep a promise. He's going to have to get right in office and fulfill at least one of the promises he made as fast as he can, if he is going to maintain the faith of the American people. They got a new show on Sci-Fi, The Magicians. Yeah, I've read up about that show, the books that it's based on. The Magicians. It's okay. Another one of these wannabe deconstructions. Oh Lord, and yeah, a guy gets his dream come true. He's loved fantasy all his life. He's loved this particular series of books. And he discovers that he's a magician, and he's still not happy. 3 books later, he's still not happy. Like, you asshole. Pardon my French, but you jackass. You woke up and you wake up one day and you're in Hogwarts College, and you give it everything, and you're still miserable. Come on, just oh, what the it's, there's one thing is quite being satisfied, and then there's just being a misery guts. I've come to the conclusion, anybody who's writing a deconstruction, basically, when they say they're writing a deconstruction, they're basically just trying to read the story to emphasize their unspoken slogan. Everything sucks, life is terrible, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm gonna go eat worms. The point of tearing something down is so that you can make room to build something better up. That's all all these people do. They deconstruct. They don't create. Omega Dragon. There are several commissions in line. But I am trying, if I do nothing but commission, nobody reads the website. Okay? If nobody reads the website, my donations go down, my Patreon patrons go down, everything goes down. It's damned if I do, damned if I don't. I'm trying to get everything done, but I gotta stop working on, every now and then, and work on. I got everything to work on, so I've gotta. I don't know how to draw a horsey. Oh, I didn't draw that on. No, please. That. Yep, I did. Okay. Typical. This is one of the things I'm talking about. I put too many irons in the fire. I try, I get in a bind. I try and make some emergency adjustments. Try to do something to pull a little extra cash in. The next thing I know, I'm up to my ass in alligators, and I've forgotten how to drain the swamp. every day, every day. It's another new mistake. Just, I don't mean to, I didn't yell at you. Just don't mean to be angry at you. I know how, tiring it is to wait for my slow ass to get anything done. I've got to stack up to my chin, and everything in it is labeled urgent. You know. Oh, what the heck? It's music again. Doggone it. Can't stand that. Swear $10,000. Multi-million-dollar technological miracle, and I can't play music steady. Okay, I gotta stop for a second. I half-ass everything. It's, I just... I let myself end up running back and forth from one thing to another, not doing anything in between. It's a fundamental problem. Simplifying my life. Problem is Firefox. I'm having to work with. I'm on Windows 7, or did it update to Windows 8? I can't remember, but my system has to be on Windows 8. Firefox just on system cycles. Everything else in the system will be, using tens of thousands of CPU cycles. Uh, Firefox will be up nearly 2 million and climbing. And it doesn't purge. It doesn't. This is a problem Firefox has had since forever. You'd think it would be a priority to fix it before moving on to before coming out with versions. Yeah, it's Windows 7, whatever. And I'm wondering if that's the reason. Am I having to use an older Firefox, or is it some sort of Firefox Windows 7 prompt? I don't know. I don't know enough about programming to even guess. But this is the thing: is that using this Firefox, I love Firefox. It's got all these nice features and it runs great. But after you run it for a while, after you've run it for an hour or two, it starts, just sucking up all the power. It's stupid. They should be fixing this already. Fix it. I should not have to stop and turn the program off. I should not have to open up a control program and to shut off the process to make sure that it releases the computer resources. I should not have to tell it to clear and purge its cache. You know, don't sell me a boat with a leak in the bottom and tell me it's my problem if it fills up. Patch the leak. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Firefox is a great program, but it's a memory hog, and it's stupid because you have to stop it. You have to open up the can't even think of the word. You have to open up the task manager to make sure it completely shuts off when you do that. To release all those resources it's sucking up, and then you have to tell it. Then you have to tell it to empty out its ever growing, endless cache of just wasted memory. You know, dear Mozilla, fix the leak. Fix the leak. Fix the leak. Fix the leak. Thing of it is of all the web browsers out there, it's the one. Well, let's be honest, it's the one we all hate least. You know? Try Chrome. I've tried Chrome. I don't like it. You know, just no. pardon. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm really not good company right now. I'm out of things to offer. And I did it again. Doggone. And I'm not sure what to do. There are things I could do, but I have to keep telling myself, no, I won't. No, I won't. Because it might help my finances, but it would destroy everything else that mattered to me. So I won't, the reason I'm talking about it is to remind myself of that, just so you understand. And I was saying, I don't have any right to ask for help. All you readers out there, you've all you particularly listening, your readership and your support and your kind words, frankly, too. Everything else you've done, your donations and your purchases. You've been there for me even when I was, even though I'm, you know, and I can't ask any more of you. I should, and I couldn't ask any more of you. Maybe, and sitting here thinking about what I could have done better in the past to make things work better now. That doesn't help much right here and now. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, lying in the sun, talking about all the things they coulda, woulda, shoulda done. But coulda, woulda, and shoulda all ran and hid from one little did. But it didn't. Have you ever been in a room so messy you didn't know where to start? Have you ever been faced with a job so large that you didn't know where to begin? Or a problem so big and so complicated? I remember seeing a Dilbert comic strip. They're having one of their hundreds of endless meetings, and the pointy-haired boss looks over at Alice, the triangle-haired woman, and he says, "And as a final measure, I'm handing Project XYZ over to Alice here." And and her eyes go round. She says, "But you've already given me Project ABC, and, GHI, JKF." And she lists off a bunch of, I can't possibly do what I already have. And what you've given me just guarantees that I can't get anything done. And she says, and she just sort of has this epiphany. She goes, "That means I'm free." She goes, "I'm free. No matter what I do, the results are going to be the same. So it doesn't matter what I do. And I'm free." And she reaches over, grabs the boss's hair, and yanks on it. Honk, honk, and runs out of the room. And I wish I could. I wish I could enjoy that perspective sometimes. My problems are nobody's fault but my own. My faults are nobody's problem but my own. My, what a clever motivational poster that would make. Yeah. Bleh. I remember when Trump was campaigning, he made a remark that he started out with very little, and that is, all he started out with was a small loan from his father for $1 million. And of course, all the usual suspects mocked him for saying that. Okay, let's review that. Just a $1 million loan. Now, tell me, how much would you like to owe somebody $1 million plus interest? And second of all, let's consider what Trump is worth today. He is worth, I believe, I looked it up. It's something like, let's see, 186 billion with a B today. Well, let me look it up. Let's see here. Trump net worth oh well, I got the wrong number. I was thinking of a different number, but net worth is 3.7 billion with a B, or 3,700 million. He took that $1 million loan and multiplied it by just under 4,000 times. This is the equivalent of somebody giving you $1 and you turning it into a used car. As opposed to the Clintons, who made their millions by embezzlement. I saw a couple of episodes of The Apprentice. I saw one episode where I think it was like the first episode of the season actually. The applicants, they were given a very simple job. They were given a job. They were to go to this ice cream factory, and they were supposed to design an ice cream flavor. And then they were supposed to go out on the streets in New York and sell the ice cream. That was it. And the two groups, they each made their own ice cream flavor. I forget what the two flavors. I think one of them made a donut flavor ice cream. Like, what the heck? They threw donuts into the ice cream. Donut flavor, I forget what the other flavor was, but anyway, and he looked at the two groups, and he looked at the second group that, it was the middle of the summer in New York City, blazing hot. And one group had done great, but the other group just, they really didn't put any effort into it. And he looked at me and he said, "Your job was to sell ice cream in the middle of July. You're fired." And I'm like, man. Most game shows you go, oh, I could have done that. I could have beaten that game. I could have figured that puzzle out. I could have done that. You watch The Apprentice and you go, gee, I'm not sure I could have pulled that off. I'm going to assume those couple of episodes I saw were typical of the show. And upon reflection, the show, basically, his show, he required these people to demonstrate actual marketing skills. And I got to agree with him. Your job is to sell ice cream in the middle of July in New York City on a blazing hot asphalt street, and you can't manage it? Oh, geez. I read the joke as you get the feeling, I have to agree. When I heard Donald Trump was running for president, I was like, you're not serious. As one guy put it, he said he suspected that the Trump campaign started out like this. What do you mean I could never be president? What do you mean I couldn't be president? Here, hold my beer and watch this. Like, yeah, that's about right. But here he is, I was originally a reluctant voter for Trump. Really. I wanted Ted Cruz. I did. But Trump's tenacity in the face of all the would-be powers that be opposing him every step of the way. The press, the Democrat Party, his own party giving him crap, giving him no real support, stabbing him in the back every chance they got, and he just kept on powering through. That earned my respect more than anything. People have he's the first candidate we've seen that actually acted like he was going to fight. These people, all these politicians, the main problem with all these politicians that were running for president is that they were politicians first, statesmen second, if at all. They were too busy trying to compromise and be diplomatic and, quote unquote diplomatic, which is apparently Democrats speak for being a pussy. Trying to compromise and saying we need to reach across the aisle. You need to reach across. It's always the Republicans that need to reach across the aisle. Democrats never reach the other direction, But and for years, for decades, we've been telling the politicians, we've been telling the people in the Republican Party and the GOP, we did not elect Republicans to compromise or reach across the aisle. We elected them to beat the Democrats, to thwart their agenda, to put a stop to them. And we were so tired. I was so tired of politicians. Every time, all they'd have to do to make a Republican crawfish was to accuse them of something or proclaim, "We take offense at what you just said," and suddenly they'd be, "Oh, I'd like to apologize to all the people I offended. I really didn't mean it when I said that, and I really didn't, and Trump was like, yeah, I said what I said, and I meant it. And they tried to make a sex scandal out of the fact that a dozen, how long ago was it? 12 years ago? 12 years ago. Some jackass left his mic on to try and catch him saying something. And what they basically caught was Trump being honest and saying, I'm worth like $2 or $3 billion. Women would be ready to jump in my pants at a moment's notice. And even then, he talked about how he had tried to score with this one woman, and she shut him down. She was married and turns out she was married and she shut me down. I'm sorry. What point are you trying to make, Democrats? Because just then Trump did something that Clinton never did. He took no for an answer. The more time went by, Trump, Trump impressed me because he said, basically because Trump went out and said what every last one of us who is sick of the government desperately has wanted to say to the local politicians' face, ourselves. Trump standing up there, Hillary stated, "Well, it's a good thing you weren't president. When I was doing my job as a senator," he said, "You're right, because you'd be in prison." He's like, "No survivors!" And he didn't care if he offended anybody by telling what he said. He didn't care. And when they caught him out on that, and they tried to make a big deal about that scandal, he said, "Fine, I apologize to my wife and I apologize to the American people for being so crude. And now let's get back to business. We've got more important things to worry about." If he had been any other Democrat, if he had been any other Republican candidate, we'd still be hearing mea culpas. "I'm so terribly sorry, and I really didn't mean to offend the women of the nation, and and I'd like to apologize to my mommy and daddy and all the little puppies and kittens," and just snivel. Even Reagan had his moments. They had one footage. I've seen this footage. I forget what Reagan was talking about. He was speaking in front of the on TV and at a press release, and I forget what he was talking about, and somebody in the audience started yelling something at him. You couldn't tell what. He just looked, and Reagan just looked up and, "Oh, shut up!" Everybody in the room just applauded him. And all these years later, I'm like, yes. We want our leaders to act like men. Not polite little church ladies. Because quite frankly, all the church ladies I've known wouldn't have put up with this crap, you know. They would have been like, shut your pie hole. You know? You spoiled little crap. You try and speak plainly to people now. You got people, Christians especially, or people who are just religious anyway. Churchies, I like to call them. Oh, you can't talk like that. What would Jesus do? And I'm like, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? You do realize that, what would Jesus do? Flipping tables and chasing people with a whip is on the list of possibilities there. Jesus is a man who stood up in front. He stood up in front of the people and called some of the most powerful, influential religious leaders in his country. He called them hypocrites to their faces. Woe unto ye, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! He said things that got people so mad they tried to murder him on the spot. They tried to throw him off a cliff. This ain't no precious moments, Jesus. Quite frankly, I don't think any of us would want to sit down and talk with Jesus and hear him talk plainly to us about our lives and the way we handle ourselves. The way he talked to people back then. God have mercy upon me, a sinner. We've achieved nothing all these years, all these decades, because we're too busy apologizing to people we should be opposing. Even among our own ranks. All they have to do is snivel about their hurt feelings. Or more accurately, all I have to do is start screaming about it and throwing a tantrum, and our supposed brave leaders come out and start sniveling. And we're so terribly sorry we offended you, and we didn't really mean it. And we're so very sorry. And this is why crude, crass, uncultured, badly mannered Donald Trump won the election. Because the only apology he seems to make is, I'm terribly sorry that your butt isn't within my kicking range. Whether that was all just ad, whether it was all PR, whether it was all putting on a performance or not, we will find out in 8 weeks. But of all the idiots in Washington, he's the only one that knew what people wanted to hear and told them. He actually, unlike anybody else in Washington, D.C., he actually listened to what the people wanted. We didn't want a nice president. We wanted a good one. We didn't want one that our enemies liked. We wanted one that our enemies hated. We didn't want one that got along with illegal immigrants. We wanted one that got them out of our country. We really didn't care whether the French liked him or not. Just once, I'd like someone in our country to remember why exactly we left Europe. Because we didn't like them all that much. And they weren't particularly fond of us. And we decided that a nice, big moat in the form of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans would be a good idea for improving our relations with them. Really? Okay, it is just shy of 10 o'clock. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to try and pick up tomorrow, pick up where we left off, do a little more artwork, do a little more talking. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise anyway. Y'all take care of yourselves, okay? It's a hard row out there. If you can spare it, toss a penny in the hat. Stop by the website, check out some of the new artwork. There is a little bit up. And, toss a penny in the hat if you can. As always, take a commission selling books, DVDs, and more. Y'all have yourselves a nice night. Say a prayer for me if you get a chance. I need all the help and all the pleading before the face of God that I can get.